Hi everyone, my name is Pascal Côté. I'm the Director of SEO here at Bloom. Again, this year, we're going to try to predict the unpredictable. So here are 5 SEO trends for 2020.
Among the trends that will be affecting SEO in 2020 is to have a secure website with a security certificate. So we hear this year over year, however, in 2020 it will be mandatory. So in the past, websites that have not been secure have had a little bit of a disadvantage with regards to their rankings, but in 2020, essentially Google at some point will most likely stop ranking websites that are not secure. So what is a secure website and what is an SSL certificate? So essentially what it is a third-party organization that is certifying that the information on your website is secure and that the information is encrypted for your users. So to actually get an SSL or security certificate, it's simple, and you can actually get a free one from organizations like OpenSSL. So once you do this, what will happen is that your URLs will begin with HTTPS instead of HTTP. So this ensures your website is secure and it increases trust with your users. So there has been advances exponentially with regards to site security, and this will continue to advance in the future, and it will be more simple as time goes on. But for right now, having a secure website, HTTP, with a security certificate is mandatory for 2020.
So the trend I'm going to talk about today is nothing new. It's artificial intelligence, or AI. Search engines like Google and Bing have been investing a tremendous amount of resources in that new technology, and we've seen the impacts of such this year, especially if we take into account some recent Google updates such as BERT, which was focused on natural language processing. The thing about these kinds of updates is that we can't really build strategies around them, but we need to adapt for them. We can't really counter natural language processing. We need to adapt our content and our strategies in order to continue providing relevant content to our users.
So what I think we're going to be seeing in 2020 is the increased need to have an emphasis on structured data when creating content for your websites. So in 2020, Google's going to be facing more search market competition than they've seen really in over a decade. We see that Amazon Alexa holds nearly double the market share in smart home speakers that Google Home does. And although still very small in absolute terms, we see new players in the search market like DuckDuckGo who have doubled in size every 2 years since 2013. So the reality is that Google's competitive advantage no longer strictly lies in the accuracy and quality of their search results, but more so in the user experience that they're able to bring to the table. And especially as users move more and more onto mobile devices, they become more and more impatient. So what this means is Google, they want to keep their user base happy. They want to provide an experience that is as few clicks as possible. And what this essentially means is Google, they figured out a way to do this. They take a short summary that describes the answer that users are looking for, and they place it right there on the search engine result page. And you've seen plenty of these. You've seen quick answers, you've seen frequently asked questions. And what this means is that we're moving slowly into a sort of zero-click paradigm where users make a search and they find the results right there on the search engine result page. So what I think this means long term is that we're going to see an increased emphasis and interest in creating video content. Video content you can directly monetize on YouTube, and you can take that opportunity to, again, generate that brand awareness and include calls to action to try to entice users to actually, navigate to your website and, again, enter the conversion funnel and take that desirable action. We could also see an increased emphasis on more rich content in the form of stuff like infographics. While it's definitely not new, it's another tool in the content marketer's toolbox that they can use to combat the fact that more and more searches are going without clicks in 2020.
All right, so another SEO trend that's going to be super important in 2020 is not only to make sure that your website is secure, but that the information on your website is safe and reliable. So in 2020, we're predicting that the quality of your content will be an increasingly important ranking factor. So these types of factors or signals that Google is looking for to determine the quality of your website is represented by the acronym EAT. So let's delve right into what EAT stands for and essentially where it comes from. So EAT is described in quite lengthy detail in Google's quality rater guidelines. So EAT stands for expertise, authority, and trust. So by implementing several practices and principles represented by the acronym EAT, your website can send signals to Google that your website is an authority, an expert in your domain, and as well that it has safe and trustworthy information. So this is most important for websites that are either in the health or financial industry, but essentially applies to all websites. So if we start with expertise, what's super important about expertise is that on your website, whether it be a blog page or a service page or product page, that the information is coming from a direct expert. The information is trustworthy. So it's also important that this information meets the needs of users. It's not only important that it comes from an expert, but that it really is practical. With regards to authority is with regards to how many times people will reference your content from outside sources or other credible sources. And finally, trustworthiness is really putting a face to your website or a group of people that are representing the expertise in your industry and including information about this one person or group of people, such as their education, their qualifications, their background, and any place where they, are on the internet, which shows that they're a trustworthy source. This is an important thing to do on your website in order to build your website's reputation. So these are all factors that Google and search engines will use to determine the quality and safety as well as expertise of the content on your site. So if you would like more information on how to implement these principles, I encourage you to take a look at the information on our blog.
So what we saw in 2019 and what we expect to continue to see in 2020 is organic click-through rates decreasing. So we saw in a previous trend in this video that there's this push from Google to move into a zero-click search paradigm. And we explored how content marketers can be more creative and create different types of content to try to combat this sort of effect. But the fact is that some marketers may have more ease transitioning into this new approach than others, and we need to also be able to work with what we already have and try to optimize so as to combat this pressure of decreasing organic click-through rates. So the trend here is a heightened focus and emphasis on optimization strategies for click-through rates right within the SERPs of your traditional organic search results. So we have some tried and true methods here, which I'm sure are no surprise to anyone, but including keywords right in your URL to send that relevant signal to users right there in the search engine result page, using emotional language as opposed to power words in your meta titles and meta descriptions that service a need and resonate with users, as well as using effective and enticing call to actions while sort of leaving something to the imagination. You want to use a cliffhanger to show users that the content they're looking for is on the other end of this click, but to get the meat, they're going to have to navigate to your website and enter your conversion funnel.
And that concludes the 5 SEO trends for 2020. We invite you guys to follow us on social media, Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn to see if we're right or if we're wrong. We're awaiting your comments. Have a great year.